and they activate by moving forward 1, and they move on to one of these illuminated or highlighted spaces, which means they will draw a revelation card. Reveal the old one in the lowest numbered hex. These numbers in the lower part of each hex are the numbers that they are talking about. So we will work our way up until we come to the first old one that needs to be revealed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be the first one. So that old one will get turned over. And it is Amigo, worth 1 victory point and has 2 health. And then we draw 2 old ones cards for movement to see if the Amigo or any other revealed old ones would move. In this case, all we have is the Amigo. So we draw the next card. We look. If it has a white circle around it, that means it does move. So this Amigo will move 1 space, and it will move towards the closest unblighted farm or port. We have 2 sheep farms here. Both are 2 hexes away. To determine which direction the Amigo will move, we use this number 2, and then we may have to use the counterclockwise symbol also. On the board, there is an indicator for movement, and there is also a token that you can place next to things to make it a little easier for you. And in this case, the Amigo likes to move in direction number 2. If that is not closer to one of the unblighted farms or ports, because there's equal distant possibilities right now, we would follow that counterclockwise motion and go around until we come to a direction that is moving towards one of those items. Since moving in direction 2 would go to this hex here, that would not be closer. So we go counterclockwise around until we get to here, which is the direction that would be closer to an unblighted farm or port. And the Amigo will move right there. We will discard the movement card that we just used. And when the purple disc moves, you have to draw 2 cards for movement. So the second one, and unfortunately for us, the Amigo will move again. And in this case, it is an obvious choice. It will move here where that sheep farm is. So we will turn that over. And that farm is now blighted, which is worth victory points for the old ones. And hopefully we can find a way to unblight that farm. We do have the Jenny Appleseed card in the display. So we have to get that Amigo taken care of and hopefully return that blighted farm back to its normal status. Unfortunately for us, the old one disc is on top and is going again. This time it is not an illuminated space, so we will not draw a revelation card. But we will draw 2 cards for movement again. And if the Amigo moves again, we're going to lose another farm to blight. And that is the case. The Amigo does move and will blight our cattle farm. If it moves again, it will be on our port, which will trigger automatic combat. Oh, and it does. Man, that Amigo has just been flying. All right. The Amigo moves on to our port, which will initiate combat. When you're defending your port, it does not cost you any time points, and you cannot withdraw, and it is basically to the death. If we lose this combat to the Amigo, our port is taken and the game is over and we all lose. Our port is defended by our 2 infantry units and our airship. We do have 4 sanity tokens thanks to Count Iago, and our airship can take 3 damage before being eliminated. The Amigo only has 2 health, so as long as this is not a complete disaster, we should be able to survive this. And we have drawn a complete blank. In this case, the infantry will do 1 damage to the Amigo, and our airship will take 1 damage. The Amigo takes a hit, and so does our airship. Oh no, the airship will take another hit, and we won't do any damage. Normally that would end that unit, but thanks to Zhu Zhang, we can sustain 2 wounds and still keep flying. And hopefully we don't get hit again. Well, we don't have any armored cars there, and we are going to lose 1 sanity. These MiGo are no joke. So we're down to 3 sanity remaining. Alright, infantry. Airship, somebody. And yes, our airship damages the MiGo. And that'll be enough to take it out and successfully defend our port. Our red player is doing pretty good. Got a phosphate and a couple of trophies already. These wounds will come off since they weren't enough to destroy it. And our troops will return to the barracks. And my sanity gets replenished for next battle. After successfully defending their port, the red player will get to go next. And I think we'll strengthen our military. And we will spend 3 gold to gain an armored car, further strengthening our military. And since we only used 1, it'll allow the red player to go again before the old ones, bringing us to yellow. I will have yellow complete our rail loop, spending the coal and iron, dropping another piece of track, and now we have complete linkage of all of our ports, and we will start working our way towards all this coal that's available just a few hexes to the north, but that will cost the yellow 2 time units. I'm going to have the blue start to open this part of the territory up by attacking these level 1 old ones. So we'll come up our port here along the tracks and attack there. We'll attack, and we will use our infantry and our armored cars, and that's going to cost us 2 time units to make that attack. This hex is only 1 hex from our rail line, which means our infantry can make it there without issue. The attack is occurring right there. We'll reveal our old one, and it is a MiGo, a tougher one. This MiGo is worth 2 victory points but has 3 health. On the player aid, you have the effectiveness of units, and I use this a lot to see if I want to make an attack on old ones that are actually visible. In this case, we're doing okay. The infantry is good against a MiGo, and so are armored cars. We have infantry and armored cars, and Corporal Jones can bail us out if things get crazy. The armored car will do 1 damage, and we will lose 1 sanity. The armored car wounds the MiGo, but they really freak out our military, and we lose a sanity. We'll continue. The armored car will damage it again. We don't have any airships that are going to take damage, so that worked out good for us. The armored car levels another attack. We need 1 more damage on those MiGo, and we will get it, and we will lose another sanity. And that will be enough to take care of that. We would have lost another sanity, but we still had 1 remaining, so nothing to worry about there. Our troops will return to their barracks. The cubes we used to mark damage come back to the headquarters, and this player has their first trophy worth 2. The red player is not going to build any more track probably for the rest of the game, so we don't need to do that. There's nothing that they can currently mine. I could put another farm down, but I don't want to do that right now. So what I'll do is I'll just get ready for after the old one's turn, recover my cubes, and get ready to see what the old ones are going to do. The old ones will move onto an illuminated space, granting them a revelation card, and it is an assassination. Remove the 2 rightmost personality cards from the display and draw replacements. That means Harry Bones and Lady Carter were both killed. Everybody else will shift down, and we'll get 2 replacements. Professor Guillaume, reduce time point cost for attacking by 1 to a minimum of 1 time point. And Mr. Marino, +1 victory point for every sheep farm during the end of game scoring. I want to make sure we purchase Jenny Appleseed before another revelation comes out. Same with Desta Danger. We want to get those both purchased because we want those in our hands and not assassinated. Normally the old ones would draw 2 cards for movement, but since there are no revealed old ones out, they will not draw 2 cards for movement because there's nothing to move. So that worked out pretty good for us, which means the old ones will move again onto a non-illuminated space, which means they would only draw for movement. And still there are no revealed old ones, so they will do nothing. Now that seems pretty good right now, but a lot of these will start getting revealed, especially when we get into these level 2s and 3s. They're not going to be taken out in one turn. I've almost eliminated all the easy ones. Things are going to get hard here in the coming turns. And we have a long way to go. A lot of illuminated spaces and a lot of revelation cards to come out. The red player has those 2 blighted farms, so to be safe, we will hire help and recruit Jenny Appleseed, because she can flip 1 or 2 blighted farms back to their productive side. And I'll have the red player keep this card. We will shift everybody down, draw a replacement, and we have Mirinda Sweet, +1 victory point for every corn farm during the end game scoring. That costs the red player 1 time point, bringing us to blue. Blue's board is already quite full of cubes. We don't have anything on the map to mine. I don't want to place a couple of farms yet. That would move me past the purple marker. So I'll think I'll get ready and go ahead and retrieve all of my cubes, bring everything back to headquarters. That only costs me 1 and will let me go again before the old ones do. To help conserve time, and considering the yellow player is close to a lot of face-down old ones, I'm going to recruit help at the cost of 1 time point and select Professor Guion, and I'll have the yellow player keep the professor because the professor reduces time point cost for attacking by 1 to a minimum of 1. And my yellow player already has a couple of unit types that are going to cost more than 1 if I take them all with me to fight, so that'll help keep his time expenditure down. We'll shift everyone over and draw Ivan Karpov. If your port is attacked, inflict 2 damage at the start of combat on each attacker. That might be a good one near the end of the game if we start getting swarmed by the old ones. Looks like Ivan is digging a minefield. The yellow player can go again, and we do have this level 1 old one here that is only 1 away from the end of our track, which means our artillery and infantry can both reach it. We just got that card to reduce time point cost. And the yellow player also has Franz Newman, which if one of my units is eliminated, I can return it to the barracks instead. So I'm going to go ahead and level an attack on this level 1 old one. Move my cube over to attack, and I will take my artillery and both of my infantry units, which would normally cost me 2 time units, but thanks to the professor, that'll be reduced down to 1. That's a really useful card to have because it allows me to attack with more troops and spend less time. Our infantry and artillery are attacking here where this phosphate is. And we'll see our first temple. The temples don't move, but there are cards that cause them to spawn more old ones. This one is worth 3 victory points and has 5 health. On our player aid, we can see here that the temple infantry is good, artillery is good, so we have the right units there. Armored cars and trains would have done nothing, and the airship would have been average, so we'll go ahead and stay instead of retreating. And the first card we have the temple down here, and of course it's the airship that would have done damage, and we don't have any, and we're going to lose 1 sanity. Taking us to 2 remaining. Not a good start, but I was not expecting to take this temple out in 1 round, seeing that it has 5 health. Let's continue on. And this time, our infantry will do 1 damage to the temple, and we will take no ill effects. Yellow will place its first damage marker. We will continue the battle, and we will do damage again, but we will lose another sanity. It's our second hit on the temple, and our second lost sanity, leaving us with 1 remaining. The battle wages on, and we have a nil result on both sides. Draw another. And this time we're going to take a wound. That's not too worrisome, thanks to Franz Newman. If we have a unit eliminated, it can return to the barracks. We'll put that wound on this top infantry unit. Continue to fight. And nice. 2 artillery show up, so we're going to do 2 points of damage, and we will take another wound. Well, we're only 1 away now. Yellow's infantry units have really been putting in some work on this temple. We only have 1 more, and we will take it out. We will place this wound on the artillery unit this time. We still have a sanity and haven't lost a unit yet. We will continue. And wow, look at that. We did take this thing out. The infantry damages it again, and we will take another wound. That is a really amazing victory by the yellow player to do 5 wounds and take that temple out. I'll return the cubes to headquarters, and we would take a wound. I would have put that there on the infantry, which would have taken that unit out. But our good friend Franz Newman, who works for us, if one of your units is eliminated, return it to your barracks once per combat. So instead, that unit would have returned to the barracks. Now that the combat's over, all the units would return to the barracks. The damage would come off. That was a very successful attack. And our yellow player gained a 3 victory point token. The blue player can now go. And we need to get to a phosphate for this blue player. Blue is the only one that does not have one. So we need to build further into the interior. Up here we have a path now that we can build tracks. Luckily it is all on the outback. So we will build, spend our iron and coal, pay our 2 time units, and start building these tracks further into the outback, and hopefully this will give us access up here for later in the game when these level 3s need to be revealed and dealt with, so they don't give the old ones too many victory points at the end if they are left behind. I will have the red player act in a support role and do an import-export action, and I'll choose to import 2 coal, which will cost 1 time unit. And because this is a fully co-op game, I can gift these resources to the other players. And since red is already attached here also to the other 2 rails, I believe the yellow and the blue player will be the ones building railways further into the outback. I'll send 1 coal to the blue player, who already has some iron, and 1 to the yellow player who has iron also. That means the old ones will now move forward 1. Which will be to an illuminated space, which will cause our next revelation and reveal the old one in the lowest numbered hex. If we follow the hexes up, we're going to get all the way to 19, which is a level 2 old one. And we see our first loyalist that has a victory point value of 3 and 5 health. We'll now draw our 2 movement cards, see if the loyalists will move. In this case, they will not. And again, they will not move. The old ones will go again. This time only drawing the 2 movement cards. Only our loyalist is showing, and for us, we are lucky again, no movement. And again, no movement. Really, really great run of cards there for us. We got away with minimal effects there. All we did was have another old one revealed, which kind of helps us know if we want to attack or not. If we look on our chart, the Loyalist, we have infantry, armored cars, trains, artillery. They're all good. The only thing that's average is the airship. I'll have the red player make a little bit of money, and we will place a sheep farm here along Red's railway, costing 1 time unit, but will allow us to go again before the old ones, and earning us a gold. I'll have yellow start working on attacking the Loyalists. I'll spend 1 gold for the 1 cube that's already in the attack space, so I can attack again. Taking my artillery and my infantry with me, and Professor Guillaume reducing that cost down to 1. Which is excellent, because it'll allow the yellow to go again right away. And the artillery and infantry have no trouble getting there. The end of our rail line is only 1 space away. And don't forget, we have Franz Newman, who can return one of our units that's eliminated back to the barracks. We'll start the attack. No ill effects. Trains and artillery. We have artillery there, so we will do 1 damage. Let's see if the yellow player gets lucky and takes out another opponent with 5 health in 1 turn. Another attack. And we have a double blank. Here we have infantry and armored cars, so we'll do 1, and the Loyalists will do 1 damage. Yellow's infantry units are really well equipped, doing really good against enemies. Again, we will start by placing our first wound on the infantry. Let's keep the battle going, and we will do another damage, and so will the Loyalists. Another great attack. This time I'll place the second one on the infantry, which will cause them to be eliminated, but Franz Newman will send them back to the barracks, and we still have an infantry unit available, which allows us to keep the fight going. Infantry again lands another wound, and so do they. Yellow again hits the Loyalists. We'll place the wound on the infantry. Will yellow be able to do it again? Not this time. We got trains and airships, which we don't have, but they're not going to damage an airship that we don't have. Yes, yellow is able to do it with the artillery, taking no more wounds. Another great combat series by yellow. Yellow gets their cubes back, gains another 3-point trophy to go next to that temple. The wound comes off, and everyone returns safely back to the barracks. I will have yellow prep for future purchases and import 1 iron and 1 coal to later sell. That way we can purchase some other infantry units, maybe a train or an airship in the future, since yellow seems to have a great combination with Professor Guillaume and Franz Newman, reducing the time cost and returning eliminated unit. Really, really great combo for yellow. That'll cost the yellow time unit, bringing us over to the red player.